is headed. Over to you, Brenda.
Alan Kilavuka, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. 18 days into the year, how is business?
Business is, so this is low season. So as expected, business is not as high as it would be in December. But there's a lot of promise, particularly when it comes to domestic. Domestic passenger is promising. And the Asian route is also very promising. That's India and China. So those two are promising. We also have a few promising routes here and there. Europe, of course, is really struggling, and mainly because of the new restrictions that the authorities there have placed. But overall, we are optimistic.
Where are you seeing more recovery?
So domestic is Kenyan markets, which is the coast, and Western Kenya, like Kisumu. Those ones have been good, given that we have not deployed 100% of our capacity. But the capacity we've deployed, actually the uptake is quite promising. It's quite good. At points we were seeing it going to 80% uptake, which is good. We didn't expect that. We were expecting something like 70%. However, domestic for us is not more than 20% of our passenger business, but it is a good thing. It's promising. Also, it means that not just for us, but for overall for the economy, particularly for the tourism players. That's also a good story, you know, the hoteliers and other businesses who are relying on tourism, or at least movement of people.
Do you project it's going to get harder in the next couple of months, especially for international travel, considering that there are high cases in places such as Europe, as well as it's winter?
We had made some predictions which were all thrown out of the window. We had predicted certain routes were going to do well, of course, because of, like you said, because of the COVID variant. That has not proven to be correct. However, Europe, yes, is actually problematic. You know, for us, traditionally, London has been a very good route for us. And because of the variant, that kind of is not the case. On the other hand, Asia has been kind of an average route, struggling, but that has proved to be extremely strong for us. So it depends on how, like you rightly pointed out, how the variant evolves, how the situation evolves, how the restrictions are eased or not eased, and that will make people more comfortable to travel. On the other hand, we are optimistic, basically. I mean, you have to live on optimism, and we're planning for the numbers. So we've laid out our program. We don't expect for the first quarter, we don't expect not much traffic, because traditionally there's not much traffic. You know, that's a low season for airlines.
How much cash did KQ burn last year because of the pandemic? And do you project that it will be the same for this year? Is KQ out of the woods yet? I've
got to give you the numbers, but we had estimated that we were going to burn up to $500,000. But the number, we haven't actually tabulated the numbers yet. That is what I think we probably did. We are not out of the woods yet, for sure, because we don't think that we are going to be more than, optimistically, not more than 60% of our 2019 capacity, revenue, and even cash inflows. So we are not out of the woods yet. We don't, even when we project to next year, we don't think even next year we'll be out of the woods yet. Now, of course, there's an additional thing that comes in, which is elections. Normally, that's not, traditionally, that's not good for business, generally in Kenya and even for airlines, because a lot of people hesitate to travel during election period. And usually elections, because they are during summer, in August, always not good. So we are hoping that by 2023, we will be completely back. And hopefully at that time, there will be no variant and COVID would have been neutralized and so on. So we are planning for that. Now, obviously, what we've seen in 2020 is that there were many surprises, mostly bad surprises, but there could also be good surprises like what we saw in China, the resurgence of travel in China, and in India as well. So we also plan for those things. And what we've done is to mitigate on those kinds of risks and downturns by introducing new products, new thinking, agility, and resilience across the business, so that we're able to identify other opportunities For example, cargo is what we're doing today, and others as well. Work with partners that could help us to get out of this much faster.
Will vaccination at some point become a necessity for overseas travel? Will KQ make it mandatory for passengers to have their jab first before they can actually board the plane?
KQ doesn't actually make those kinds of declarations. That would be the jurisdictions, mainly the Ministry of Health, in places where we fly to. And we've seen in some instances that is a requirement already, actually. That is going to be a requirement. So my prediction is that most places, most destinations will require that. And so I think we should all be ready for that. We'll enforce that. And I think, in fact, there's already talk, particularly in Europe, that that would be one way to control the virus spread.
How many jobs did Kenya Airways cut last year? And how many do you anticipate you will do so this year?
The number of people who left Kenya Airways, so it's not necessarily that we cut them, left for various reasons. So, for example, their contracts were expired, or they resigned, or yes, indeed, we terminated for one reason or another. It's about 800 people who left last year. And what we have decided to do this year is to focus on the number in terms of savings. So what we are trying to do this year is to save about 30% of our overall fixed costs, both in fleet ownership cost and also staff costs. Looking at just back-of-envelope calculation, we think that about between 200 and 300 people would be approximately how much, yeah. So it is actually a very fluid situation, because what we have done this year is we have requested staff to enter into what we're calling a voluntary exit program. So they have applied, or they are applying, as it is, because it's a continuous process. And then we'll evaluate the people who have applied. Some are essential, so we will not have them go. But there are others who we could actually have an arrangement to release them. Once we release those, we'll go back and look at the numbers and see whether they are within what we are aiming to have. Yeah, so basically it's really to reduce the cost, and it's for short-term sustainability of the airline. Of course, the airline will grow, particularly from 2023. It will definitely grow. So what we are telling staff is, whichever way they exit, for example, termination of contract because the contract came to an end, we're also putting them in a preferred list, so that when now it's time to rehire, we go back to the same people and ask them to come back to work for the organization. Because we're very optimistic that we'll get back. Only we need to survive this period, because it's a very lean period for us.
How much did you receive in form of a bailout last year, and what did you use the money for?
The money that we received last year was used for operation. We received money from government. It was for operational purposes. The airline was not making any revenue, and we still had costs to incur. For example, we still had to pay lessors. So so the airline needs to be recapitalized up to upwards of $500,000. That's how much we need to be comfortable. But we recognize that there is challenges also from the government side in terms of availability of funding. Now, they did give us some money to help us actually just kind of stay afloat. Otherwise, would have gone under. So they gave us 2 tranches of 2 billion Kenya shillings during the period to be able to, like I said, stay afloat. Yeah, and that was it. But like I said, we need a lot more than that.
What will the future of air travel look like?